I'm John Musoni at the brand new Dorrance Hamilton Public Media Commons at WHYY, covering the Delaware Valley Grantmakers 2010 Fall Conference. This is one of the most important annual events in our region, where about 300 philanthropic, nonprofit, and government leaders gather to discuss the big issues of the day. This year's conference theme, Breakthroughs, New Thinking for New Results. Participants have spent the morning wowed by martial arts breakthroughs and listening to several thought-provoking, inspiring, and accomplished individuals talk about the ways to solve problems and achieve breakthrough performance. Now it's time for the audience to speak up. I'll be interviewing a cross-section of conference participants to learn what's on their mind about breakthroughs that would benefit those who live and work across the Delaware Valley. Jan, tell us a breakthrough you'd like to make happen in your work.
We like to, in addition to funding each organization, ask ourselves the question, how can we make each one of these organizations stronger than before we started the relationship? That's really important for us.
At City or Greater Philadelphia, the breakthrough we want to make happen, the breakthrough actually we will make happen, is we want to excite and energize public school students so that they enjoy public education again and graduate. We want to do that by really inviting tension and dissent and more conversations among the students, the parents, the teachers, the funders, and of course our core members.
With our young people's very skillful and thrilling presentation in mind this morning, we invite you all to join us at Philadelphia Young Playwrights in envisioning a breakthrough that could be possible if we launched Arts for Kids Day. And on that day, all of our corporations, local businesses, restaurants, our cultural institutions would devote 25% of their profits to subsidizing a second breakthrough idea, and that's mandated arts education for every K-12 public and other school student, and trips to our region's cultural institutions and martial arts studios, for instance, so that our students become the creative, educated, innovative workforce that Philadelphia needs in the 21st century.
At Friends of the Children, we use paid mentors to work with vulnerable youth starting in kindergarten, and they stay with that child for 12 years. And what I'm often asked is, well, how do you find your volunteers? They miss the part about it being a paid position. So what I'd like to do is have the community rethink the work that we do and how they support it so that we can make a larger impact using folks who could potentially be beneficial to the constituents we serve.
Thank you.
Our nonpartisan regional coalition of municipal, civic, school, and faith leaders is committed to continuing to defy the boundaries that typically separate us by being in relationship with real healthy tension. Our breakthrough is to build a statewide movement with the power to ensure that all of Pennsylvania's communities are thriving, diverse, and attractive places to live, to work, and to raise families.
Thank you.
In this world of information overload, Bank of America is looking for new and innovative ways to tell our complete story of the grant making that we do in the community so that our stakeholders, our clients and associates can really feel and know the difference that they're making in communities throughout the year.
Is there a new idea or action you might try to achieve a breakthrough for our region?
The Economy League's World Class Greater Philadelphia initiative is an effort to bring corporate scenario planning to regional planning. The idea being that we need to prepare for uncertainty, understand what priorities we have to focus on, and bring together leadership around making those happen.
We need to envision a housing market that actually meets the needs of the community and undergirds the local economy so that every individual and family in this community has a home within their reach.
Thank you.
If there's one fact that drives our work at Breakthrough of Greater Philadelphia, it's the fact that being the first in your family to go to college ends poverty in your family line forever. And yet we know that 9 out of 10 students in the Philadelphia Public School District do not go to college. I want to call on every one of us here to touch a child, to bring a child that has potential down a path of opportunity to break through.
As someone from outside this area, I think we have some phenomenal natural assets that we really need to build on as we go forward. So I think we need to wake up each day thinking of ourselves as a world-class city and remember that our competition is not New York and Washington. Our competition is Mumbai and Sao Paulo. Our competition is not the nonprofit next door. Our competition is really apathy and resignation. So if we really want to break through, I think it begins with a global attitude that really leads to community and innovation and creativity.
As part of our efforts to create new jobs and businesses within our city in an international economy, I think that there are a couple initiatives or breakthroughs that would be really helpful. One is to have more flights out of Philadelphia. We've talked about this, out of Philadelphia International to international places and connect to the international world. And the other that we've talked about is having more diversity within our various boards in our communities, both nonprofit, for-profit foundations, and government.
Thank you. How can nonprofits and grant makers work better together to achieve breakthroughs throughout our region?
I think it requires a collaboration of trust, relationship building. I think for funders and grant makers is really being willing to take a risk, but a calculated risk in the sense that understanding what the capacity issues are for the nonprofits and for the issues that nonprofits are working on and funders as well. So I think that for funders is really being able to understand that risk is important and for the nonprofit to have the capacity to take on the risk.
Well, we have a confluence of three major events. The economy is faltering, we have increased needs in our populations, and we see a very important need for emerging leaders to take our mission forward. We've been working with grant makers on a very breakthrough idea for us, which is to get to know ourselves better, our colleagues better, and hopefully get to know our services better. We've been doing that by conducting Myers-Briggs and 360s on our management team, and we know that when we know ourselves better, we'll be able to get to achieve breakthrough results.
I think one of the things is that nonprofits need to look at themselves as not competitors. There needs to be more of a collaborative effort, and think about how much more you can accomplish by working together. You can look at a common area where you have interests and think about how you can ramp up for education and advocacy. Just really thinking about how much more you can do and not, competing for funding or something like that.
I think that nonprofits and grant makers should really approach each other as partners and as colleagues, and that the grant makers should really have an interest in seeing that the nonprofits are successful, and that those kind of conditions are needed in order for breakthroughs to take place. I think specifically the grant makers should listen to the nonprofits and find out what nonprofits need to be successful and support us to develop capacity. Also, I think with organizations that are high-performing organizations and have demonstrated success, that the grant makers should consider making longer-term grants, and that they would then be able to see results that may take place over a longer period of time.
I believe that the way that we do breakthrough in our regions with nonprofits and grant makers is first a vision. If we don't have a vision, we will perish. Then we have to have a common vision. Second, I believe we need to communicate and agree in the vision to be able to make it through. And third, I believe that the only way we can do it is by coming together and developing strategies.
Well, I think that how we achieve breakthrough, working together, nonprofits and foundations, has to do with how we create new models of leadership. One, I think that a lot of solutions have to come from the communities that we serve. We've got to seek indigenous solutions and find leadership in places that we wouldn't have searched for it before. And then I think we've got to be more deliberate about creating a new leadership pipeline. We've got a lot of people who've worked in the sector for a long, long time, and there's a chance for new change. And I think we've got to be creative and deliberate about how we create that pipeline, because we can't take breakthrough leadership for granted.
Breakthroughs can happen if we as grant makers can have the humility and the openness to have unexpectedly honest conversations with unexpected partners.
A lot of great answers, but that's all the time we have right now to talk about breakthroughs. But Delaware Valley Grantmakers wants to keep the conversation going. So make sure you check out DVG's new website, www.dvg.org, to share your ideas and keep posted on achieving breakthroughs that would make our region an even better place to be. For WHYY in Philadelphia, I'm John Musoni.